Good morning, students. In the previous classes, we discussed the chapter motion. In the chapter motion, we discussed what is motion, the terms related with the motion: distance, displacement, speed, velocity, acceleration, then equations of motions, 3 equations of motions, and circular motion. So today we have to discuss a new chapter, that is in the science textbook, chapter 9, and the second chapter of physics, that is force and laws of motion. This chapter also related with motion. This chapter is the continuation of the previous chapter. So in the previous chapter we discussed motion. So in this chapter we have to discuss law of or laws of motions. Okay. In this chapter we have to discuss 2 terms. First term is force. We are very familiar with force. In the 8th standard, we studied some facts and some concepts related with force. So, what is a force? What is the effects or results of force? We discussed in the 8th standard. So, here is some examples for the force. So, in the first case, a ball is pressed, or a ball is compressed. Second case, a girl is playing hockey. Third case, a boy is pushing a trolley. Fourth case, a drawer is pulled. This is in the case of a spring. All these activities. So in this activity, a ball is compressed. So a force is applied. To compress a ball, a force is applied. For playing hockey, okay, to hit this ball by a hockey stick, okay, a force is applied. In this case also, pushing of a trolley, a force is applied. By pulling this drawer, a force is applied. Okay, to compress or to elongate this spring, we have to apply a force. So we know to do all these activities, we have to apply something. That something is called force. So in this case, here is pushing. So in this case, here is just pushing. Okay. Here just pulling. Here is hitting a ball by the hockey stick. Here also pushing. So a force includes pushing or pulling. Okay, so we can say a push or pull on an object is called force. So what is the definition of a force? A push or pull on an object is called force. Okay, then what are the effects of the force? What are the results of the force? To move an object, we have to apply a force. So to move an object, to stop an object, to change the direction of an object, to change the shape of an object, a force is needed. So these are the effects. A force is needed to change the motion of an object. A force is needed to stop an object. A force is needed to change the shape of an object. So for doing any work, we have to apply a force. So we can define a force as a push or pull on an object is called force. These all are the example for a force. Okay, a push or pull on an object is called a force. Then force, there are mainly two types of forces, balanced and unbalanced forces. Balanced and unbalanced forces. What is the balanced force? First, balanced force. So, first we consider a box. Okay. This side a force is applied. This force is F1. Okay. On the other side a force is applied, F2. Okay. This force is 10 Newton. This force also 10 Newton. So we can say equal forces are acting on both sides. Okay. First force F1 is this direction. Okay. F2 is in opposite direction. But two forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So this object is in rest. Why? Equal and opposite forces are applied on both sides. So this type of force is called balanced. Now this block is in rest. There is no motion to this block. Why? Equal and opposite forces are applied on this block or on this box. Okay. Then in the case of unbalanced force, for example, one box. Okay. Here a force is applied, F1 equal to 20 Newton. In this side a force F2 equal to 10 Newton. Okay, these two forces are not equal in magnitude. In which direction this block moves? This block moves in the direction of the greater force. So this block moves in this direction. The motion of the block is in this direction. Why? Greater force is applied in this side than F2. So this type of force is called unbalanced force. What is unbalanced force? If the two forces are not equal, such type of force is called unbalanced force. If the two forces are equal and opposite, such type of force is called balanced force. So there are two types of forces, balanced and unbalanced forces. Okay. So two opposite forces of different magnitudes pull the block. In this case, the block would begin to move in the direction of the greater force. Thus, the two forces are not balanced and the unbalanced force acts in the direction of the block moves. If the two forces are not equal in magnitude, such type of force is called balanced force. So, the object moves in the direction of the greater force. Okay, this is unbalanced. Then, what is balanced force? So, in this diagram, a table. Okay, on the table, a wooden block is placed. Okay, so two forces, names X and Y. Okay, if the block pulled from both the sides with equal forces, forces X and Y are equal, the block will not move. Such forces are called balanced forces and do not change the state of rest of motion of an object. So here there is no motion. Why? Here the wooden block is at rest. Why? On both sides equal magnitude of force is applied. This type of force is called balanced force. So what is a force? A push or pull on an object is called force. What are the effects? Effects of force? A force can change rest. A force can change motion. A force can change the direction. A force can change the shape. Okay. For doing all activities, all work, we have to apply a force. Forces are mainly two types, balanced and unbalanced forces. Okay. So one force is frictional force. What is the frictional force? Frictional force arises between the two surfaces in contact. Here a wooden box is placed on the floor. Okay. Here the two students just pushing this block, but it is not moving. Why? So here the two students applied a force, but between floor and the block there is one force arises. That force is friction. Frictional force. This is the direction of the frictional force. Okay. This frictional force opposes the total force. Okay. This is the applied force. This is the frictional force. This frictional force opposes the applied force. That means applied force and frictional force is equal and opposite. So this block remains at rest. This is an example for balanced force. This is an example for unbalanced force. Why it is called unbalanced force? The applied force is greater than the frictional force. Okay. So here is frictional force. Here applied force exerted by the students. Okay. Here applied force is greater than the frictional force. So the object moves in the direction of the applied force. Okay. In this case, the metal box moves in the direction of the applied force. What is the direction of the applied force? This is the direction of the applied force. This is the direction of the friction. Frictional applied force is greater than the frictional force. So the object moves. This type of force is called unbalanced forces. Okay. So in today's class, we discussed mainly three concepts. First one is what is force. Then there are mainly two types of forces, balanced forces and unbalanced force. So today we can conclude our class. Okay, thank you.